My name is Sarah Green. I've been married for 3 years. My husband has a great facade, getting compliments from the neighbors saying what a kind husband you have. But that's far from the truth. It's all just a facade. With a husband like that, it wouldn't be surprising if he had other women. That's what I thought. After all, he has so many contacts with women. It's almost mysterious where he meets them. Moreover, there's never been a weekend he's spent at home. At first, I was jealous, but now, I don't even bother. That's why I was considering divorce. This marriage was a mistake, wasn't it? But, I was the one who decided to get married. It wasn't because someone else suggested it. That made it hard for me to just decide to get a divorce. Then, unexpectedly, I got pregnant. That made me even more confused about the divorce. But, no matter how tough it gets, my husband won't help with the chores. On top of that, he laughs and says, pregnancy isn't a disease, you know. The terrible words rain down on me like spears when I can't get out of the bathroom due to morning sickness. Hurry up and get out, it's not just your bathroom. If you want a bathroom that badly, should I buy you a potty? Then, there's the declaration that he's given me his seed. Be grateful I gave you my seed. It's my excellent sperm, after all. Even while pregnant, I was forced to lift heavy things, wondering how many miscarriages it would take for it to be your fault. When we go out to eat, he starts getting irritated if the restaurant is busy. Why is it so crowded? You should have researched when it's less busy. I have no idea. I think to myself, but I don't want to start a fight, so all I can say is, I'm sorry. While saying it, I wonder why I even have to apologize. That's what I thought. If only we didn't have a child, I could leave this man. Why didn't I leave him before? My decision was too late. But now that we have a child, I have to be strong. I can't just cry. I made a decision. After enduring for maternity life, bearing the heavy belly and the excruciating pain, I gave birth to our child. I never thought childbirth could be so painful, but seeing my child safely born, I realized how cute they can be. When my parents came, they were thrilled to see their first grandchild. After you're discharged, you should come back home for about a month. You need to take care after giving birth, or it'll be tough later. My mom told my husband. He just laughed and didn't answer. I thought he didn't understand what my mother was saying, and sure enough, that was the case. We headed home on the day of discharge. I found our house was unbelievably messy, a mountain of trash. How could it get this bad? The table was littered with leftovers, and spills were left as they were. The sink became a mountain of dirty dishes, and clothes were scattered all over the room. My husband doesn't even bother to put them in the washing machine. Hey, hurry up and do it. So what if you're postpartum? Postpartum is tough, so go back to your parents' house, my foot. Taking care of the house is the wife's duty. Saying that, he dumped all the household chores on me. Help out a little. There's also the baby to take care of. Huh? You're the one who had the baby. Since you gave birth, you have taken care of the baby. What a guy. Yeah, got it. Hey, since the baby's born, I'm gonna gather the relatives for a baby's debut party. Why? That's what I said. It's a party for the baby. Don't make things so complicated. If they want to see, they can come by themselves. That's not how it works. We have to do it at least once. Fine then. I won't contact my parents, so you do it. Yeah, it's fine. I'll contact everyone. On that day, my husband went to the station to pick up his parents who were arriving by train. He returned with them. And then my parents arrived, making the house quite lively. Sarah, you shouldn't be doing household chores right after giving birth, it'll be tough later on. You should rest. Thank you. But I glanced at my husband briefly. She seemed to understand just from that and apologized, I'm sorry. It's a mystery how such a man came from her who understands things so well. What are you making? Need help? No, it's okay. I'm just making tea, so please enjoy looking at the grandchild. But it must be hard, right? Normally, you should have come back to my house after giving birth. I'm fine. This is just the beginning. What? My mother went back to the living room, tilting her head. Yes, this is just the beginning. Looking back, it was nothing but hardship. These past months since getting pregnant. While other pregnant women seemed happy, I was just resenting my husband. On top of that, once the baby was born, there was no way I could get proper sleep. Breastfeeding every 3 hours, the baby's crying at night. The baby cries, my husband yells, and the baby cries even more. Walking around alone in the middle of the night until the baby falls asleep, and just when I think the baby's finally asleep and put them in the crib, they start crying again. I can't count how many times I've wondered why they cry so much. And yet, my husband doesn't help at all. From the living room, I could hear the voices of the parents lively, and my husband's voice lively as well. The king of facades, as expected. When I entered the living room with tea, my husband's sharp voice caught me. Hurry up and get the food ready. Everyone's hungry. At his voice, the baby started crying, and my mother looked at him in surprise. My husband, thinking he screwed up, put on a forced smile. I wasn't surprised and just smiled back. Because this is everyday life for me. I'm not so weak as to be fazed by something like this. Smiling at my husband, I replied with my next words. Everything's ready though? At those words, my mother-in-law was tilting her head. Certainly, there's nothing resembling food in the kitchen or the fridge. Nor is there any appetizing smell in the room. How can this be considered ready? What do you mean everything's ready? There's nothing prepared at all. When you say ready, it means the food should be prepared and finished by the time everyone arrives, doesn't it? Don't worry. Everything really is ready. Really, you're something else. My husband couldn't hide his irritation anymore, his voice growing louder. Being just after giving birth is tough, huh? It's okay to take it slow. We have all the time in the world, and being able to look at our grandchild like this, there's nothing happier. My mother-in-law was on my side. My mother also peeked into the kitchen again, wondering what I was making. Anyone who has gone through childbirth understands how tough it is right after. Tyler, how about you help out a bit? It's not right to let Sarah do everything. Today's reveal party was something Sarah wanted to do herself. It's fine to let her handle it. Besides, a man in the kitchen means his wife can't do anything. Sarah can handle everything. After all, she's been a housewife for 3 years. What are you acting so high and mighty for? Sarah has been handling all the household chores. Plus, there's cleaning and laundry to do. It's only natural to help out a little. It's okay. Everything is prepared, really. Is it? But. Saying so, my mother-in-law sat at the table. All right, everyone, please have a seat. As I called everyone to the table, they all sat down. Then, I placed a tray with a large envelope on the table. What's this? Everyone looked incredulous. And for good reason. Normally, delicious dishes would be brought out. Instead, there lay an envelope from a detective agency. This will be the main event for today. Hey, Sarah. What kind of joke is this? We can't eat this. Oh, it's no joke. I said as I pulled out the contents of the envelope and spread them out on the table. There were numerous photos. Photos of Tyler with another woman. My in-laws and my parents looked on, wide-eyed. There were photos of them entering and leaving a hotel. They were even sharing a drink together. It was clear they were more than just friends. What is this? They're hugging. You were having an affair? My father-in-law growled as he held the report. What's this? What does it say? Taking the report from my father-in-law, my mother-in-law also groaned. It was filled with detailed reports of my husband's infidelity. As the report made its way to my parents, they too were shocked. The photos were shocking enough, but reading the report added to the shock. After all, it revealed a long-term affair. Tyler, what's the meaning of this? You've been cheating even though you're married? Well, this isn't something forgivable, is it? No, there must be some mistake. How could this possibly be a mistake? Faced with this unexpected turn of events, my husband's face turned pale. What do you mean by this? Oh, there's no need to be surprised. Everything you've been doing up until now is all here. But, I mean... Tyler. You were having an affair? Well, hey, Sarah. What are you trying to do? Today's supposed to be the baby's reveal party. And yet, you bring out something like this. Yes, that's right. But I thought it's exactly because it's the reveal party. Or maybe I should hand it over to your mistress's husband. What? As I said that loudly, a man came in from the next room, followed by a woman with a pale face. Everyone, this woman here is Rachel, Tyler's mistress, and this is her husband. What does this mean? I wanted to make clear in front of everyone just how much Tyler has done. I wouldn't stand a chance fighting Tyler alone. Tyler, you bastard. Our child has just been born. My husband, who had been stunned, finally came to his senses and started yelling. His pleasant facade was nowhere to be seen. Hey! Sarah! You set me up! Scary, are you going to hit me today as well? Today as well? No, I didn't hit. Sarah, what exactly are you thinking? My husband was desperately trying to maintain his appearance, but his voice was shaking. What am I thinking? Just revealing everything you've done. I thought it'd be better if everyone knew. And I'm sure Rachel's husband has plenty he wants to say. And you choose such a joyous occasion for this, you're out of your mind. I don't think so. You're the guy who slept with my wife? What? How dare you seduce my wife? That's the spirit. No, I didn't seduce anyone. Then what are those photos about? What could this be, I wonder? What do you mean, what could this be? You're clearly the one who took my wife away from me. The husband, enraged by my husband's attitude, tried to punch him. A real mess, but my father-in-law and my dad stopped him. Let's calm down. Violence isn't the answer. I was cuckolded by this bastard. I understand you're upset, but let's try to be calm. I love my wife, and this jerk defiled her. How can I be calm? I know, but it's better to stay calm. That's right, getting violent won't solve anything. Do you guys even understand how I feel? This bastard stole my wife. Let's try to calm down. My father-in-law and my dad tried to calm the husband down, and my mother-in-law placed a cup of water in front of him. He gulped down the tea, trying to steady his ragged breathing. How could you cheat on me? That's right, you're married and yet you go after someone else's wife. That's not something you should do. How did you find out about the affair? I got a call from this lady here. At first, I couldn't believe it, but after she showed me the photos, I couldn't deny it any longer. Hey, Sarah. There's no need to drag others into this. What are you talking about? It's your fault for having an affair. That's right, Tyler is the one at fault here, so be quiet. When I asked my wife what happened, she said she was forced into it. Forced? That's not true. I didn't do anything like that. Why would she say it was forced? That's a lie, a complete lie. Tyler, shut up. When I actually asked my wife, she said she was caught trying to shoplift without realizing it. Someone grabbed her hand as she was putting something into her bag. She was coerced into silence, unable to refuse, fearing that I would find out she was shoplifting. Rachel suddenly started crying. When I asked why she shoplifted, she said during her period, she loses sense of what she's doing. Oh, I've heard of people like that. She usually tries not to go out during her period, but she had to get something essential that time. Lies. We've met during her period before, and nothing like that ever happened. And the idea that I stopped her from shoplifting is a complete fabrication. Besides, didn't you say you loved me? I only love my husband. I thought if it was just once, my husband wouldn't find out. I thought if the shoplifting wasn't discovered by my husband, and I never did it again, it would be fine. But I was coerced into continuing the relationship. He threatened to reveal our affair to my husband if I didn't continue. That's not true. I didn't do any of that. The worst. An enemy of women. Tyler, what have you done? I'm telling you, I didn't do it. Why would you believe her over me? My wife is scared to go out now, afraid of running into someone like you again, even though she never intends to shoplift again. What are you going to do about that? I didn't do anything like that. We'll be seeking damages. Since my wife has been put through this, we'll sue for extortion if you don't pay. That's... Tyler, what have you done to us? I didn't do it. Believe me. Hard to believe you, especially with the evidence of the affair and everything else. Is there more? When I was pregnant, you said some terrible things to me. Like you gave me your seed, and when I was suffering from morning sickness, you complained about me hogging the bathroom. You made me carry heavy things, and when we went shopping, you wouldn't carry anything. There was even a time you kicked my belly. That was an accident. Accidents are supposed to happen once, right? What about the time you suddenly hit me? That was a joke. Half in play. It was tough for me. I thought I was going to lose the baby. Well, any woman would think that. So, I've decided to divorce. Just after giving birth and not being allowed to go back to my parents, being made to do all the housework, enduring all that only to find out about this vile affair. I just can't do it. That certainly makes sense. I didn't do it. I'm innocent. I can see why she'd be scared to stay. Dad, too. I'm telling you, it's not true. She's lying. Our relationship didn't start like this. Why would you lie like that? Oh, so what are you saying? If you have an excuse, I'm all ears. Sure, I had an affair. But our relationship didn't start over with something like that. The woman clung to her husband, frightened. There's no need to listen to you. Seeing how scared my wife is says it all. Stay away from my wife. Oh, I'll stay away from your lying wife. So, it's divorce then. Will you sign the divorce papers? Sarah, you set me up? Oh, it's not setting up, it's just revenge. Revenge? What do you mean? Because you've treated me like an object all this time. You have affairs as you please, while I'm just like a maid. It's been like that since we got married. You're all nice outside, praised by the neighbors, but at home, you don't do anything. You don't cook, clean, or tidy up. Just because I'm your wife, I'm supposed to do everything, even when I'm sick or in pain, you just don't care, keep pushing me. I'm not a robot. Yet, you said a robot would be better. Remember what you said when we couldn't have kids for 3 years? You blamed me, said the field was bad and belittled me. That's terrible. To think it was that hard for you. This is unforgivable. I'm so sorry. I had no idea this was happening. My parents seemed to be at a loss for words with anger and shock, while my in-laws kept apologizing. We'll be seeking child support from you. Child support? Of course. For the following years, until my baby graduates from college, you'll be paying child support. What? I'll be taking good care of my baby. Yes. Even you, Mom? It can't be helped, Tyler. And you've never even held my baby since birth. I was afraid I'd break them. Every father thinks their child is fragile, so they hold them gently. We can't entrust custody to someone who refuses to do even that. Besides, with the affair, the child would just be in your way, wouldn't they? Yes, I'll be taking the child with me. It's ridiculous that you didn't let me go back to my parents right after giving birth and made me do all the housework. I never thought you'd be such a fool. We must have gone wrong somewhere in raising you. Truly, Sarah, I'm deeply sorry. And to you too, Rachel, for what you've been put through. Since we're divorcing, Tyler being fired is inevitable, right? That's okay, isn't it, Sarah? Yes, I'm fine with that. Fired? What do you mean? Oh, you didn't realize? My mother is the CEO of the company you work for.
You're kidding.
I don't lie. My father runs another company. Well, our parents' companies are so large, it's possible for employees not to know their CEO. And my mother doesn't go around saying she's the CEO in her private life.
I knew your father was a CEO, but your mother too. I thought your father's company had nothing to do with me.
Indeed, it doesn't. But you should at least know the CEO of your own company.
So, you were a CEO's daughter? Why didn't you tell me? If you had told me, things would have been different.
Oh, what would you have done if I was the CEO? Pretended to be a good husband? I don't like that. I'd rather know the truth than be lied to and deceived.
If I had known, I wouldn't have done any of this.
That's exactly where you went wrong.
Maybe I could have become the CEO.
A man thinking like that could never become a CEO. If you want to be a CEO, you should achieve it with your own effort. Regardless, Tyler, it's over for you. Then, please sign the divorce papers.
You're quite prepared, aren't you?
Well, to do something like this, you need to be prepared. We'll get a lawyer involved, so please talk to them. My in-laws, like my husband, were shocked to find out my parents owned major companies.
Sarah, won't you reconsider the divorce?
Huh? Why now?
I'll change my bad habits. Children are better off with both parents, right?
That's not a concern. If we hadn't had a child, I would have left you a month ago. Please sign quickly.
What a mess!
Hearing my words, Tyler seemed to realize it was hopeless and signed the divorce papers. Taking the divorce papers, I grabbed the bag I had prepared, left the room with my parents, and closed the door behind us. Once the door was closed, what could be heard from inside were the angry shouts of his parents.
You really are an idiot. To think you squandered such a golden opportunity.
Then, the mistress's husband presented my husband with the amount of alimony, leaving him stunned. He was threatened with police action if he refused to pay and ultimately was forced to promise to pay. Hearing that, I smirked and walked away from the room. It happened the next day. My ex-husband, Tyler, came to my parents' house. What's up? Coming here the day after the divorce?
Can't we reconsider the divorce?
Why?
I've been thinking all night. I realize I still love you. I love you.
Wow, what brought this on all of a sudden? After treating me like a maid all this time?
I never treated you like a maid.
Oh, really? When I came back from the hospital, the house was a mess. Food left out, laundry not done. You never considered how doing chores right after giving birth is something that affects you later in life, you just dismissed it as the wife's duty. Isn't that treating me like a maid?
I just thought wives are supposed to take care of the house. But I'll change. I'll help with the housework from now on.
It feels too late. What happened with Rachel?
Her husband threatened to go to the police if I get involved with him.
You should have expected that after what you did.
I didn't threaten anyone. I never hit you, did I?
True, you didn't hit me, but you did kick me when I was pregnant.
That was a joke.
Some things can't be brushed off as jokes, especially when it involves a pregnant woman.
Please, let's start over. Then you'll see my good side.
Why the sudden desire to start over?
If we don't get back together, I'll be jobless.
So that's the real reason. You don't want to be jobless, so you want to get back together?
Of course, that's not the only reason. I love you.
How much of that is true, I wonder? Regardless of whether or not you threatened Rachel, that wasn't really the issue.
Is that so?
Yes. Whatever the start was, the fact that you had an affair doesn't change. Nor does the fact that we're divorcing.
Don't say that, please, let's start over.
No way. No matter how much you beg, I won't consider restarting with someone as selfish as you. I do thank you for giving me our child. And I promise, they won't grow up to be like you.
That child is mine too.
So what? For the past 3 years, I've suffered because of you. So what if the child is yours?
Yeah, I guess you have suffered. But I'm suffering now.
Suffering how?
When my parents found out you're the daughter of a CEO, they insisted that we somehow get back to how things were. They said they'd disown me if we couldn't get back together.
Well, getting disowned might be for the best.
If that happens, I won't be able to survive. They said they'd support me if I could get back with you.
Your parents were like that? I thought they were decent people, unlike you, but maybe they're not so different after all.
Really?
Yes, very much like you. Trying to get back with me because I'm a CEO's daughter is just too underhanded. Regardless, I've decided to cut ties with you and your parents. Don't contact me ever again. After that, my lawyer went after Tyler for child support. Considering he might default on payments, we demanded sufficient amount in once. He said a lump sum was impossible, but that didn't matter to us. In exchange, he was told he wouldn't be fired, to which my husband happily agreed. However, he wasn't fired, but he was demoted. He was relieved to avoid being fired, thinking this would allow him to pay off the debts. However, that turned out to be overly optimistic as his new assignment was in a remote area. It was in the middle of a mountain where no one lives. His job involved collecting specific plants that grow in the forest at set times each day. Not only was finding these plants challenging, but roaming the forest was also hard work. After collecting them, he had to bring them down the mountain to a post office for shipping. This journey was said to be particularly harsh. Since it's not a place you can drive to and from, walking is the only option. Rain or snow, that doesn't change. So, within 6 months, he contacted me asking for help, but there's no reason for me, his ex-wife, to help him, so I firmly refused. On my end, my child is growing up healthy and robust. It seems they might inherit my mother's company or my father's company in the future. My parents are looking forward to that day, sparing no effort in providing an excellent education. However, I hope for my child to live freely rather than taking over the company, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what they will choose.